The path to your success and world peace are the same because you were born to come into the world to offer a gift. And if you start doing that, you have the life that you are meant to live, and then we start to see something very different happen in our world. I can say this because that's the path that I was given. That's the philosophy that my life led me to develop and bring to the world because we are moving through an evolutionary change. And that's where I ended up. I didn't know that I had done that, just as you don't know what you have and what is yet to be developed within you, because it is an ongoing process within us, but also in our civilization, in our world. And we will assume different roles, but you have one, and you were born with a gift. And I know that because I became a mystic and a prophet, and I know what is within you, and that became my contribution to helping to heal our planet, and that's what I'm doing now. And you can do the same thing. But I'm going to show you a little presentation here because it is from information that I received when I started downloading Wilhelm messages in 1989. I had no idea what it was going to be, where it was going to lead me, and what it was going to accomplish. And it was a journey that I am going to document because it's kind of unbelievable, but I want everyone else to understand. You are never limited by what you can achieve and accomplish in your life. And I know this because had to go through it. But that makes it easier for you. We each come in to do something, and if we evolve, if we allow ourselves to evolve to a higher state of consciousness within ourselves, understanding our importance, then we can give that to others. And that's how I am spending the rest of my life. A week ago, I turned 74. And people will say, well, why are you still like this? It's all in your consciousness. Everything is consciousness. And so once we start to understand it, then we live the lives, and we can direct it, get control of it. We live the lives we're meant to have. And then eventually we start creating a very different world because others are starting to know what is possible and what is available. And that's what I'm doing. So, sometimes it's really challenging. I didn't know that I had done this. I'm saying that because I don't ever want you to judge yourself for what you haven't discovered or accepted. Because most of the times we're just running from ourselves and we're not accepting. And I did that so I can talk about it. But I'm telling you, when you get to the other side, that is that ascension journey. You see things in a very different way, and you have a very different life. And that's what I will show you. You were born with a gift. November 11th, 2018. Every soul is born with a gift, and that very gift is valuable. And this is true for you and anyone else who might receive this message. You and others have difficulty with this concept because you have been taught hierarchy from a very young age. As you think about this, the logic of it will make sense. You begin school or formal learning and start to be judged based on standards created by others. Now, when you do not achieve the highest grades or accolades, you begin to think that somehow you might be less than others. You continue this throughout your life until you have difficulty knowing or believing that you have anything useful to offer the world. Here is what you all wanted to know. When you stop judging others as being less than you will begin to recognize your greatness. You will come to understand this. Wilhelm. This is speaking to our current conditions in the world, and you will understand this soon. May 20th, 2020. First of all, let me say that in 2020, my Wilhelm messages began telling me where we were moving in our world, so everything that is occurring now was not a surprise to me, but it was also difficult for others to accept this information. May 29th, 2020. You were afraid to love. First of all, we are speaking to each person individually and your world collectively, primarily due to the current world conditions and the events in the United States. We have given you several messages on this subject, but we will summarize here. Love is the most powerful force that exists. It is powerful because it does not restrict its energy. It does not limit its energy and continues to expand because love is the absence of all judgment. If each of you comes to understand and accept this concept, you and your world will evolve exponentially. These are all from 2020, by the way, and you'll see there's a progression in time later in the dates. June 21st, 2020. Today in the United States is the observance of Father's Day. You each react to that in your own ways, but there is a significance you might want to consider. You chose your father for a reason, and that reason, once you decide to recognize it, will reveal to you who you are and what you want to achieve in this lifetime. The current conditions of your world are an excellent manifestation of generational beliefs and ideas that humans are reluctant to release due to fear. If you do not examine your ancestral leanings, you rob yourself of valuable information that will allow you to live your lives with greater ease. June 22nd, 2020. You are witnessing in the world and your life personally is what you are witnessing in the world and your life personally is a collective expression of repressed, residual anger at the belief in separateness and inadequacy. You have done this in your life, so of course the world would follow suit. We will also say it is not all your fault. You carry a generational belief of which you are unaware. We led Roger to a photo this morning of the removal of a statue of one of the former presidents of the United States, as it depicted the president on a horse with subservient images beside and below him of a Native American and African American. You were taught inadequacy, and that is why you are angry. June 26, 2020. Currently, there is a restructuring occurring, and given that you collectively hold the fear of the unknown, it would become greater as you are in the midst of a profound change. It is not difficult to understand how that energy may impact you personally and the world when you offer resistance to change because you want to know where things are headed beforehand. We will tell you that the United States will experience the greatest shift as it was believed they held the greatest power. You will understand how the feminine energy we have spoken of was misplaced because an adjustment was needed to aid the evolution of all that is. While it might be challenging to separate your individual experience from that of your world, do your best, as it will ease your anxiety. You are finding a new balance in your life where you honor all aspects of yourself. And when you allow your feminine and masculine energies to achieve balance, so will you. You will understand this soon. July 12th, 2020. You are in the process of being restructured. First of all, please note this message has been decades in the making for Roger and you. We are indeed using the collective you in this message, and you may understand why we have recently started using this phraseology. It is because you, the individual, and the collective you are evolving, which occurs through the destruction of the old you. We will not make this a book, but the restructuring you are experiencing is your understanding of your oneness and connectedness to all, and using it to aid evolution. At times you need extreme conditions like a pandemic, or extreme leaders like Hitler, or a country like the United States that momentarily lost its way. The balance you all will experience is complete and total acceptance of you and all others. What we are speaking of is pure love, and these events always cause that to occur. July 15th, 2020. Eventually, you come to understand yourself, and you will be pleased with the results. We told you that the world is moving through a restructuring aided mainly by the United States. You will witness more of it today, but should not alarm you because it helps you evolve. There has always been, there's always existed an inequitable distribution of what you think of as power and influence in humanity throughout all of civilization. When you examine your history, you notice a steady increase in acceptance, inclusion, and love. You are contributing in your own manner, and no way is right or wrong or more important than another. In other words, no matter what role you play, it is aiding evolution. The difficulty your human self encounters is trusting your spiritual self or that voice you believe is urging you to do something. July 18th, 2020. You may never sleep again. We thought that title might be somewhat intriguing for many of you at this time, but we are also using it both figuratively and literally. To Roger, it feels as if it might be his permanent reality due to how we have continually disrupted his sleep. We never do anything without purpose and reason. Yesterday, Roger was attempting to complete his online program, which has been in the works for years. He sat there yesterday with a problem he hadn't expected, and each of you will experience it in your life. Roger had so much information he had called from us that he couldn't decide what to use. Part of that indecision was born out of his constant doubt and uncertainty, just like you have experienced in your life. You each have held ideas about who you thought you were to be in this life, but now you are awakening to the truth of who you are. The conditions of your world are aiding you in your quest. Now we will explain our statement about the restructuring and the United States. If you take time to study the history of your world over the centuries of which you possess records, you might read, you will discover a pattern of evolution. Humans individually begin to awaken to who they are. Upon that realization, they begin to expect and even demand more for themselves. As we have said continually, you are all connected. So what you do individually adds to the collective. August 5th, 2020. You have made it all about money. The title of this message is the answer we gave Roger when he asked us how the United States would lead the way to the restructuring you are all experiencing. Then we told Roger we had given you the answer several years ago and that you merely needed to study it again. We will post it below, for as you study it and apply it to your world today, you will understand and accept its truth. We are speaking to you, the individual, and the collective you. Also, we are not speaking only of this time, but of many civilizations. If you were to study your history, you can't miss this point. Now, the part you have not acknowledged is how you have done this in your life. So, of course, it would manifest in the collective you. In this instance, however, we will use the United States as an example. To evolve means that you integrate every aspect of who you are, which means inclusion. You have used money to measure your self-worth, and in doing so, you make others more significant than you and others less. For centuries, when operating in this manner, you create a cumulative effect that, if left unchecked, will halt the evolution of all that is. Now, that will never occur. However, it just slows things down. But then you have a great adjustment, which is what you are experiencing currently, which is why we keep saying you will be fine. This information will make sense. Just give it time. This was the very first message that I was asked to use when I agreed to do a live channeling session, because Wilhelm wanted to tell us what we would see in the world and what we would be experiencing as we change our civilization. February 22nd, 2017. Money Love, control, and power are intricately woven together in your life, so much so that you have difficulty recognizing the distinctions. This very issue is the cause of many difficulties you and others experience. It will take some time for you to decipher all of this, but this is an excellent place to begin. You begin to associate money with love, power, and control because that is how you grew up. If your parents or those in charge gave you something of value or money, you associated that with being loved. But you also associated this with your parents holding all the control and power. You then begin to usurp those characteristics and begin using them in your own life. You will think that if you give another enough money, you will feel loved and experience your own power as well as control over others. This is never what you are truly seeking. As you can see, this is just the beginning. Ponder this for a bit. August 17th, 2020. Deciding to love yourself now will aid the evolution of your world. Last night, we kept telling Roger to revisit our messages on the law of attraction, of which there are many, and there he would find the solution to your current world dilemma. You will also understand why we said you are collectively undergoing a restructuring and why the United States would lead the way. We also want Roger to post one message about the law he located this morning with the message, and as you all give yourself time to study, it will make sense. You have lived your lives individually denying certain aspects of yourselves, therefore cutting yourself off from the available power you might access and utilize. You have either cut off your masculine energy or your feminine energy, but somewhere exists an imbalance. Then you begin to discover your lack of power in your life to manifest what you desire, and you think some outside forces cause it, so you rail against them. Then you will blame entire groups of people for your lack of autonomy. You will use ethnicity, social class, gender, or sexuality. We are speaking to all of you, collectively and individually. In the United States, you only gave women the right to vote 100 years ago. As you thought then, maybe you should acknowledge every aspect of your humanity. And you are doing that again now. You will have fun coming to decipher this message and discovering clarity for yourself. As you see, that was August 17th of 2020, and that was the last one. And you can see that is what is occurring in our world now and what we have all seen. But let me tell you, after 36 years of taking down all this information and coming to understand that what was really happening is that I was developing a philosophy, and I know that it works because it healed me, and it can do the same for you and our world. That's what I know. So please enjoy this. And I've posted several videos on my YouTube channel that I gave a lot more history. I've done it over the years. And then I wrote several articles on my channel, on my website, rogerburnley.com, that you can find there. And I've done them for years and years and years, giving you historical information and understanding about how things change. We are all energy. We have complete control over our consciousness. We can create anything. You have a gift. You can manifest the life that you want to have and contribute to our world. I know that, and that's why this work was given to me, so that you live your best life. See you soon.